Welcome back to a brand new video, guys. My name is Patrick, aka Chief Pat, and today we're going to be talking about the biggest update in the history of Brawl Stars. It's the global release update, or at least the update that's coming out right before the game goes global, and I'm going to be telling you guys all about it today. Now, by the time you've seen this video, this update might already be out. Of course, global is still coming out the 12th, but this update is coming out earlier. If it's not out already, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Chief Pat to get the latest update on when it's happening, but I'm going to be going through absolutely everything today for you guys to check out, and it should be a pretty amazing time. Let's go and hop into it by starting off with the first new thing coming out inside of this update, and that's going to be Leon. Leon is the newest legendary brawler coming out inside of the entire game. You guys saw some previews of him in the very first iteration of the video that they released. Leon actually ends up throwing 4 Shoryukens, I hope I'm saying that right, the little ninja blades in an arc with medium range, and basically his Shoryukens deal more damage the closer he is to his target. So with Leon, what you're going to want to do is go invisible, which is his super, what I'll tell you about in a second, and do close range damage. Think of him as an assassin, and the closer you are to the opponent, the more damage you're going to do. Now, of course, for his super, it's called Smoke Bomb, where Leon goes invisible. He will lose invisibility if he ends up attacking a target permanently, or if he gets hit by damage, he'll briefly become visible for you to be able to check out. But with Leon, basically you're going to be using this super to get close to your opponents, assassinate them, and do a crazy amount of damage. He's really fun to play, especially in certain modes like Gem Grab, where you can sneak around with Leon and do some serious damage, and he's really a blast to play. Now, of course, pets and turrets don't see Leon during invisibility, as well as for Leon, his star power actually is where his invisibility, he moves faster inside of it. So make sure you guys check out Leon. Of course, he's a legendary, so he's going to be a little bit more difficult to get, but overall, he's a really dope brawler, and I'm excited for you guys to get your hands on him. Now for skins and models, there was a bunch of changes that they announced inside of the video where a bunch of brawlers were receiving new models to make sure that they were perfect for the new game going global. Of course, that's going to be Shelly, that's going to be Nita, Barley, Dynamite, Bull, as well as, oh, I'm missing one. Wait, I'm so bad. Brock. That's going to be the 6th model that you guys will see that's being updated as the game comes out. But of course, they ended up updating a bunch of skins as well. That's going to be Bandita Shelly, Viking Bull, Panda Nita, Golden Barley, and Beach Brock will all receive new revamps, which is pretty exciting to fit their new character models. Now, besides that, Star Shelly, of course, is going to be available for you guys who have pre-registered. If you haven't pre-registered already, and if you don't have the game already, you don't have to pre-register if you've already downloaded the game. But if you guys want to pre-register, I've got a link in the description below. And of course, they are offering a new Wizard Barley skin if you guys connect your account using Supercell ID. Clash Royale just did this for the CRL World Finals, where you connect your ID and you get a special emote and a bunch of prizes. Same thing here with Brawl Stars. Connect your Supercell ID, you'll get a pretty dope Wizard Barley, and that's it for the skins and models that are being revamped for the new update. Now let's quickly gloss over the fact that of course there is a beautiful new 3D landscape available inside of Brawl Stars. It's still taking me a little bit to get used to. In your first 2 games, you're going to be freaked out because it's at like a little bit different of a visual angle. Don't worry, the game still plays the exact same it has previously. It just takes a little bit of a couple of seconds for your eyes to get used to. But yeah, you actually can check out some different things before matches go live. By clicking the I button next to the maps, you can actually get a preview of the maps that you're going into. So if you're like me and you haven't memorized all the map names yet, before you get into action, you just click that little information button and it'll show you the map, which is pretty sweet. Additionally, they changed a bunch of other things regarding UI. They did rename keys to tokens to make things a little more player friendly. So the keys on the bottom that you use to open up your Brawl boxes are now called tokens. The star keys, of course, are now being renamed to the star tokens, and bands are being renamed to clubs. No longer will you ask people to join your band. It's going to be to join your club. And I think for Supercell, they just tried to make this as seamless as possible. There's no confusion when you ask someone to join your club, but there is confusion when you ask someone to join your band. Like, are you going to be playing guitar? Are you going to be playing Poco? No. Join your club. Very easy and straightforward. And they did rename Boss Fight to Big Gang as well. So a couple of UI changes, a couple of things to make things more simple for those new players being added into the game, and a couple new vocabulary words you guys are gonna have to memorize if you guys are existing Brawl Star players already. Now let's talk about some different changes to a couple of different game modes. First, they did add in a new mod to the game. No, I didn't say mode, a mod. So similar to energy drinks, similar to meteors, they added in a new mod called the Healing Mushroom. So in Healing Mushrooms, it spawns an area that actually ends up healing players, which is pretty cool. This is going to open up a bunch of new strategies inside of that mod, so make sure you guys check it out whenever the game actually ends up coming out. Now moving on, they did make some changes with Life Leech. So Barley Star Power and Pam Star Power, they reduced the effect of it by 75%. 100%. So no longer can you throw Barley's attack and regain 200 HP every time. It's going to be significantly less, and that's the only reason I got my Barley to 500 trophies. So that's a feels bad man on my part. Besides that, they ended up doing some changes to the Angry Robo modifier to where you're going to actually end up getting some power cubes, which Supercell officially defined whenever you kill that angry robot. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the details right now because right now we're also focused on global launch, but do know there's going to be a bunch of different mod and mode changes, and there also will be a mode removal. They did end up removing practice mode, but of course you can still open up a friendly battle and fight against bots if you need to, and I don't really see that being the most significant difference, so I'm pretty fine with that being removed as well. Now, there were some drastic changes to game rooms, which we're going to have to put in the same old vocabulary vault because game rooms are now called teams. Again, Supercell making this easier for those new players coming into the game. Teams are now going to be what you describe as old game rooms, where you get in with your friends, you invite people to your team, and anyone that's part of the team, whenever they join your team, can actually invite people as well. So for your game room, now called your team, anyone who's part of your team can invite other people to your team. You can queue up for matches together and get ready to get into action. Now, people can also request to join your team. So if you get into a team, let's say me and Mulder in a team, and there's one spot left for gem grab, people can actually request to be a part of it. So that's a nice little feature as well. So you can knock on the door if you're friends, if they're playing, and see if you can join their team. So they did end up making some pretty nice changes when it came to the maps in a couple of different game modes. If you check this out, for Brawl Ball, they actually made it to where now players spawn behind the goal. This makes things much more interesting and a lot less RNG depending on what side they spawn on, and it could help some things as well when it comes to cornering. I'm not really sure. We're gonna have to figure that out a little bit later, which is one of the most annoying things that's part of Brawl Ball. For Heist, players now spawn behind the safe as well, so no longer is it random whether you spawn to the left hand or right hand side of the safe. You actually have the fact that you can spawn right behind the safe and get into the action. And for Gem Grab, Bounty, Heist, and Brawl Ball, all the maps got expanded 4 tiles. They touched about this in the first video. This is going to make the map more fluid, a little bit bigger, to compensate for what they've done with the visual angles, and it's pretty exciting stuff for those map changes, and I can't wait to see you guys get your hands on Brawl Ball and let me know what you think of that change. Moving on to gameplay changes, there definitely were some significant changes when it came to gameplay. This one is pretty interesting. From here on out, all super abilities can now be activated at any time when charged, so you can actually interrupt your own attack to play your super. So let's say you're playing Ricochet and you start shooting your shots, and after bullet number 3, your super becomes available. You can instantly hit that super button and fire out towards your opponent, and you no longer have to wait for your attack to complete. This is going to be an interesting change. It could add another level of skill to the game to make some pretty quick maneuvers to get that ability out and make it instant. I'm sort of excited to see that in action and see how people respond to being able to play their super immediately. Moving on, they did add in respawn location indicators, basically a green or a red circle where you see where your teammates or the enemies are going to end up respawning. When you're playing Brawl Ball, you can actually see where your teammates are aiming and shooting the ball, similar to Clash Royale, how you can see where people were planning on dropping your troops. This will let your teammates know sort of an idea on what you're trying to do with the ball, what type of play you're trying to make, and sort of coordinate from there without having voice chat. And then finally, there will be some sort of haptic feedback added for easier aiming cancellation. Basically, it's going to vibrate when the joystick goes back to the middle area, so you know when to cancel your attack and get rid of that pesky auto that you didn't want to deal with. So before we hop into the balancing changes, which are pretty interesting, they did actually have some miscellaneous notes on the very end for us to check into. That's the fact that the ticketed game mode is going to be moved into its own slot, so no longer will it be 3 game modes and a ticketed game mode on the bottom. You have 4 game modes available plus a ticketed one, making 5 game modes playable at a single time, which is really nice. Additionally, you will always have that modifier game mode available in the 4th slot, so always there will be something like Meteor, Energy Drink, the new mushrooms, or anything else available in that 4th slot for you to play, and it's no longer going to cycle between the ticket and that mod going into action. There will be free coins, power points, key doubler, and tickets added to the daily free item rotation alongside the free Brawl Box. So if you guys know every single day you get a free Brawl Box inside of the shop, now it actually might have a couple of different items. Now you're not going to get all of those free items at once, but you might have a Brawl Box on Monday. On Tuesday you could have a key doubler. On Wednesday you could have some power points. On Thursday you could have some free coins. Pretty interesting that they're going to be switching that up, and no longer will it be the routine of getting that same old Brawl Box every single day. You're going to get some pretty unique prizes inside of there, and always nice to have some different variety when ending up choosing from your free box. Now, besides that, they did say they made some matchmaking improvements, and I think matchmaking will get better now that the game is going global, and you have much more of a pool of people to choose from rather than playing those same people at the top or the same people in the middle of the ladder that you usually deal with. But that's it for the miscellaneous changes. Let's hop into the balancing changes right now. So one brawler that Supercell decided to touch on, which I think needed a buff as well, is going to be Colt. Colt's damage per attack is going to go from 280 to 300, whether it's a super or attack damage. A nice 20 damage buff is significant for Colt. For Crow, Super's going to charge up a little bit quicker. It's not going to need quite as much attacks to get that Crow super charged up, which I think is pretty fair and a pretty decent buff as well. I didn't want them to over buff Crow, and I feel like that'll put her in a pretty solid spot. Moving on to Bull. Bull did get buffed, where his health is going to go from 5,000 to 5,200. Pam's HP is going to be buffed from 4,200 to 4,400, and Jessie's going to have her reload time, which is one of the slowest reload times in the entire game, moved up by 10%, which is pretty exciting for me. I think that's going to help out Jessie a lot, and I think that's a great way to balance her. But let's keep looking through the rest of these changes. We've got Penny. The super cannonballs are no longer going to hit randomly. So when her mortar is shooting, no longer is it going to shoot in this radius. It's going to be like a perfect shot where the mortar shoots, and it's actually going to be better for running away from those mortar shots. However, they did decrease the projectile speed of her mortar by 6%. So you're going to have more time to react to it. The shot where the mortar's actually shooting is going to be more specific. I think this is a little bit of a nerf for Penny, and I'm excited that that mortar got nerfed because it's so obnoxious. Moving on, Tara got a small nerf where it takes a little bit longer to charge up her super. Spike ended up having his attack change to where when Spike throws his attack, no longer is it random where the little cactus things pop out, but it's going to be in a fixed order. And then also, Spike had his range reduced by 0.7 of a tile, making him not as strong as those super rangy brawlers, and making him more of a mid-range brawler, which he really should be. Now, in the end, the biggest rework done to a brawler inside of Brawl Stars is going to be for Daryl. Daryl actually ended up having a lot of changes where his super now, instead of flying all the way across the map, only goes 7 tiles. And when he uses his super, it activates a shield that lasts for 3.5 seconds and reduces his damage received by 30%. Now, because this super isn't the most impactful, they actually have it to where it recharges by itself over the course of 20 seconds. So either you can gain your super from attacking, or you can gain your super by waiting, and you don't have to connect for damage, making him the first brawler in the game to not require damage to charge up his super. Now, they did end up doing some attack changes due to the fact that they made him so much easier to get on your opponents with. He's going to do 100 less damage from his main attack. He's going to do 240 less damage from his super, and his health did get decreased by 1,000 HP. I think it's a really fun rework. It makes him different than the Bulls, the Shellys of the world. It makes him a lot more mobile for getting on those ranged targets and just zoinking up and trying to shoot him in the face. But it will be sort of interesting to see how he's received inside of the game. I'm having a lot of fun with him so far, but we'll have to see what happens when the game goes global and you guys finally get your hands on him. So that's going to do it for the global release update that's coming out inside of Brawl Stars. It might already be out already, but guys, I'm super excited for you guys to get your hands on this. Not only if you guys have been playing already, but when the game goes global. I'm loving the 3D landscape. I'm loving so much about this update, and I can't wait for the game to finally go live across the world and for everyone to have a chance to play Brawl Stars. Now, if you guys want to subscribe for some more Brawl Stars content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, slap that bell with your elbow, whatever else you have to do. That's going to do it for this video today. Let me know what you guys think about the update in the comment section below. Do you think it's a winner? Do you think it's a loser? I don't know how you could think this is a bad update. It's packed full of awesome stuff. Some things need a change, like the UI for like when you're chatting. Actually, on the main screen is pretty obnoxious right now. There's a couple of headaches, but they wanted to push the update out as soon as possible so everyone could get their hands on it. And I know I'm excited to have this new update, and it looks pretty spiffy to me. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Until the next Brawl Stars episode, and until the game goes global, I will see you guys later. Peace out.